What's up, everybody? It's your girl Nia, the video gamer, and I wanted to come on really quickly and make a video about this whole E3 situation. So, as you guys know, like whenever I do make videos, a couple of videos that I have made regarding Nintendo have been kind of cynical. You know, I've been kind of making fun of them or just kind of bringing to the forefront my thoughts about some of the things that they've been doing that I thought was the wrong direction. But today I'm actually going to be defending Nintendo. Y'all can call it damage control. Y'all could say whatever y'all want, point fingers at me, call me a Nintendo or whatever. I don't care. Because I feel like I try to be as objective as possible when I give my thoughts in my articles and in my videos and stuff like that. But there have been a lot of people just going around in the community, you know, like on the internet and stuff like that, basically kind of dooming and glooming Nintendo and, you know, just doing the whole regular say negative things about Nintendo, make it seem worse than what it is without really knowing the facts, the basics of what's going on. There's been a lot of people going around, you know, giving this impression that that Nintendo's not going to be at E3 this year just because they're not going to have a conference, making it seem like they're scared or they have nothing to show or they're backing away from competition and stuff like that. But in actuality, if you actually go and read the press release, and yes, I was one of the people who received a press release straight from Nintendo, straight from the source, and that's how I gathered my opinion. I got it straight from Nintendo. I didn't go and read some article on the internet trying to sensationalize and make some things sound like what they're really not. And honestly, if Nintendo does this and Sony and Microsoft and the other people kind of stick to the regular old traditional press conference and just have their games on the show floor, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that Nintendo could possibly have the best and biggest showing at E3, and let me tell you why. It's true that Nintendo is not going to be taking the big stage in the way that we all hoped. At least as noted, or at least as insinuated by the press release that they sent out. But they will be doing some other things. But as far as my own personal thoughts about Nintendo having a press conference, I am kind of disappointed by that because I was actually one of the ones who felt that there's no way that they could possibly miss the big stage again this year. Like, there's just no way, because last year they had such a quiet presence at E3, and it kind of turned out to kind of bite them in the butt. You know, they were trying something new and trying something different, and I applaud them for that, but it didn't work. You know, on the console front, on the Wii U front, there's still people who don't really know exactly what the Wii U is and what it can do and what it has. And that kind of just added to that, how quiet they were during E3. Don't get me wrong, there were some good things that came out of last year's E3, like they started doing the Best Buy experience thing, which I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. And it actually turned out to be a really big success. But as far as the way that they went about having their Nintendo Direct instead of a traditional conference, that did bite them in the butt. This year, however, there's a lot of people kind of saying that, oh man, they're doing the same thing, so therefore they're gonna get the same results and stuff like that. And honestly, I don't disagree with your opinion. You know, you can feel that this is a wrong decision for Nintendo, because honestly, I'm on the fence myself. But to say that their presence at E3 is going to be a quiet one like last year, and to say that they might as well not even show up, you're wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. Because at this E3, although they're not going to be having a conference, they're going to be having a Smash Brothers 4 tournament for Wii U at E3, which is huge. I'm not really sure if you guys really follow the Smash scene. I really didn't either until I started dating Show, because y'all know, like, he's real big into Smash Bros. But Smash Bros is pretty damn huge, and I started to realize that last year during the whole Evo situation with all of the fans lobbying to have Melee as featured at Evo, and ever since then I started to realize that there's a lot of people, especially in the fighting game community and those that like to watch and follow that scene. Smash has a huge following, and I even think that then it was like maybe the most watched tournament, the most popular tournament then, and it seems to continue to be one of the more popular games at these competitive events. But at this year's E3, Nintendo is going to be hosting a tournament themselves. They're going to be sponsoring it themselves. They're going to be inviting 16 of the very best Smash Brothers players from around the world, and they're going to be duking it out with Smash 4. That is huge. And if I'm not mistaken, it's gonna be live, but I don't want to lie. I think in the press release it said it was gonna be live, but don't quote me on that. But that is huge, and I don't think y'all understand how huge that is. Another thing that they're gonna be doing is that they're gonna be having a live Nintendo digital event, whatever the hell that means. They were very vague about it in the press release. It was something along the lines of it being an evolution of Nintendo Direct. That means it could probably be like a regular Direct with some extra bells and whistles. It could be a big stage video presentation. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna leave that up to interpretation until Nintendo decides to tell us more about that. So as far as that, I can't really speculate on that, but it could either be a big thing or it could be a little thing. I can't really speak on that right now, but it's gonna be a thing that is gonna happen, that's gonna tell us more about Nintendo's games and what they've got in store for their future in the near future, etc., etc. Also, they're gonna be streaming a live Nintendo Treehouse on the show floor during regular show floor hours. That's big. Let me tell you why. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. I mean, most of you guys who are Nintendo fans like me probably keep up with stuff Nintendo is doing. But basically, a Nintendo Treehouse, it's not like a Direct. It's actually a lot more personal and a lot more relaxed. It's basically Nintendo, they go out and they actually get intimate details from these developers. They get previews, and it's more like a Western style, behind the scenes, you know, this is what we're doing type of thing for the fans. And the fact that they're going to be having a live showing of this on the show floor is actually pretty brilliant, I think, because it would have a lot more an impact than a Nintendo Direct that you just watch, you know, on the screen. Like, media is going to be, you know, able to pretty much watch it in the same vein that they would be watching a press conference. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to a convention, but I know when me and Jaleesa went to PAX, you know, Twitch was there and they did a live Twitch event. And you're spectating just like you would be if somebody was standing on a stage and talking to you. And the way that the Nintendo Treehouse is set up is that it's a lot more relaxed. It's just people hanging out on the couch and they're talking, you know what I mean? And that would be something that if you're walking through the show floor, you have no choice but to see that. So that, I think, is a really, really good idea. Along with that, they're going to be doing another Best Buy experience. This year, it's going to be focused on Super Smash Bros. 4. And because the Best Buy experience, the E3 Best Buy experience was so successful last year, they might even have more locations this year. So not only are they going to have this big Smash Brothers presence with the tournament, and they're going to have this digital event, and then they're going to have that live Nintendo Treehouse. To me, that is a big presence at E3. To me, it's probably even bigger than just talking on stage and then just, you know, the media just goes to the show floor to play whatever you just talked about in your press conference, because you're actually getting down to the nitty gritty and you're able to talk directly to people and like get these games in the hand of the people. They're pretty much skipping all of the fluff that you would normally see in a press release and just putting it on the floor and putting it in a way to where media will take notice. Because y'all have to remember, we gamers, we treat E3 like it's a fan event. You know, to gamers, E3 is pretty much the Super Bowl of gaming. But the way that E3 is set up now, it's becoming a lot more strict. To get into that event, it's more of a media event. And the more they hoop and holler, the more the media is going to take notice. And because they're going to be in so many corners of E3, doing the tournament, doing the Nintendo Treehouse Live, doing their digital event, and then having the Best Buy thing going all around the world, they're trying to create a buzz at every angle. From the gamers angle, to get the gamers hands on their products in the flesh, and then on the media angle. I see what they're trying to do, and then not only that, they're kind of trying to pump up the hype and stuff with the whole video that they did with Mega 64, which was hilarious and genius. And I have to watch it a couple of times because it was hilarious. But you know, I say all this to say that the way that they're going to be doing E3 this year, is disappointing as it is for them to not be on that big stage. They're going to have a huge presence. And like I said in the beginning of the video, if they do this and then the other companies just do a press release and then just do games, they're probably going to have a bigger presence than the other people. But it all just kind of depends on what everybody else is going to be doing too. And then especially if Nintendo brings those games, because really at the end of the day, they're gonna have to bring those games. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can have a Nintendo Treehouse Live, you could have the tournament, blah blah blah. But if you're not bringing it on the games front, then you might as well not even bring it. But because they're bringing their E3 experiences so many in an array of ways, they better bring it. And if they do bring it, I think that there's a good chance that they can quote unquote win E3. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of address that because I've been seeing a lot of people spreading a lot of false information about how Nintendo's not going to be at E3 and they're like falling back and they're just so, you know, weird and whatever. But when you think about it, they're going to be like, E3 is going to be in their hands because of how much they're actually going to be doing at E3. Like, they're actually going to be doing a lot and having a huge presence at E3. But that's all I wanted to say. Like I said, y'all can call it damage control or whatever you want. Call me Nintendo or whatever you want. But it's no denying, after all of the stuff that they said in that press release, that they're not going to have a pretty dang decent showing at E3. And that's all I wanted to say. I'll talk to you guys at a later date. Peace.